important, for example, to have definition of RNG and all things in place. So online casino in Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina is forbidden, but in Republic of Srpska and Brčko district, it's allowed. So companies which has companies which have headquarters in Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, if they want to offer to players online casino, they need another company with headquarters in Republic of Srpska and Brčko district.
Nice. Thank you.
One more license fees, not only one, two, or either three.
Smart regulation.
Yes.
Okay. As we see that, so the Serbian regulation also has an impact on the others and on players even in Bosnia and so on. Maybe, Petar, you have told that you have a new amendment, a big amendment of Games of Chance and so on. Can you tell us something more about it?
Yeah, thank you for the introduction and good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here in such an early morning after the party. After a couple of years when we talked about potential updates and amendments to the Serbian law on games of chance, we actually had one in the past year. It was a complete, let's say, very detailed overhaul of the current gambling regulation, both for land-based and online. I will obviously stick to the online sector now. What is happening is actually that the market is maturing in the sense we are now introducing things that are being present in more established jurisdictions for ages. For example, now we have introduced self-exclusion as a mechanism for an obligation for operators to give to the players. It's not obligatory, it's voluntary for players. They can choose to self-exclude, but operators have to have that system in place. On the other hand, there's also the verification of players as a system that is now introduced as an obligation for operators. All of the licensing system is now moving towards the online portal that the regulator has. Obviously, with some increased fees that are present for licenses and like monthly fees that are present after you obtain a license. So there are many nuances now introduced, even terminology-wise. What Zlatan said about RNG, we had a definition which obviously was RNG, but it wasn't named like that. Now we have specifically a name for that definition and calling it RNG as such. So yeah, there are many things we can talk about. One other change that happened that is relevant for this sector is also the update of the AML Act, which happened actually twice in the past year, due to let's say a will of the regulator to actually introduce measures for digital assets, because we have a law on digital assets in Serbia, and but we didn't have obligations in the AML Act for the entire sector. Now we do have that, but also there were developments in the let's say sector on countering financing of terrorism. So yeah, there were quite big changes in these two laws, which obviously impact not just iGaming sector, but they are mostly relevant for us today.
Thank you. You want to add something?
Yeah, if I may add,
yes.
When I said we are, there is a one market in Bosnia and Herzegovina from economic perspective, definitely I can say that we are a really connected market through those three countries. And from our position as a software supplier and a platform provider, we are also hit with these changes in Serbia. For example, colleagues mentioned that there is self-exclusion for the players. As a platform provider, we need to develop on our platform side. If we provide turnkey solutions, we need to develop the platform feature where we approve and get the possibility for the players to self-exclude themselves. And regarding the AML provisions, for example, in terms of identification, KYC process of players, there is an obligation in Act that you need to integrate some solutions which will make identification, and you need to integrate that on your platform side. So basically, what hit the operators, it's transferred to a software supplier, especially when software supplier is a platform provider as well.
So it has to be integrated and certified.
Yes.
It has to be tested and verified by a lab, obviously. Yeah.
And how you're dealing with it in Montenegro is also you are like somehow affected by the Serbian, or you are more like independent in your regulation.
Well,
Is it working?
yeah. Hi, good morning. It is affected in terms that we are connected markets, but we have our own issues. We have an outdated law dating from more than a decade ago, and last year we saw some upgrades, but this year was planned for a big overhaul and for the new law. But from what we see in practice, it stirred a lot of a reaction, caused a reaction from the industry, because mostly from what we saw, it's prepared by someone who doesn't understand the industry quite well. And we see some novelties that will affect the industry, like complete relicensing process, basically canceling all the licenses, existing licenses, including the licenses for land-based casinos, which are 2 million euros worth. And it's somewhat not so clear process, the whole process of relicensing, and a lot of questions have been opened. So we're yet to see what will happen with the new law. It was already proposed to the parliament, but then withdrawn a few days ago. So I think the industry is fighting back and trying to postpone and trying to change the law. The legislative process in Montenegro is supposed to include the public, the general public, the industry, and during preparation of this law, we had some public discussion, but at the end, we understood that most of those comments made by the industry and the professionals who are dealing with the industry were not accepted. And the final draft that was submitted to the parliament was also different from what we saw at the beginning. So the process was not quite open.
So that was I wanted to ask, if they are like, one thing is that the formal process is like the comments and so on, and they don't accept it. But even before, when they are drafting it, do they talk to the industry, or they listen to you just before they draft it? Like what is good, what is bad, what is working, what's not working?
Yeah, no, there is no communication in that sense. I think that it's mostly political, populistic goals that someone is trying to achieve by amending the laws, by making it harder for the industry from many aspects. Because, for example, we had amendments of the tax law, personal income tax law, and as of January this year, all winnings above 300 euros are taxed with 15% income tax. But the issue is that the legislator didn't quite have a good understanding of how it looks like in reality when one is playing. So what they proposed, not proposed, but they adopted, the only way for interpretation is that for every particular game, meaning every spin on online or every round in a land-based casino where there's a winning about 300 euros, you would need to stop the game, to calculate the tax, and to pay it at the same time when you are paying out the winning to the player. And it opened many questions, and we had meetings with the tax authority, with the Ministry of Finance on one side, and representatives of the industry on the other side, and we tried to clarify with them and to understand what they had in mind, basically, when they were preparing the law. Because the industry said, we cannot apply this law. And the response from their side said, but we have these forms, if we're not clear what forms to use. It's not about the forms. In reality, you cannot apply this tax. And when we explained to them how it looks like in reality, then they understood that they had no idea about how it looks like in reality. So now there is a group working together to find a solution.
It sounds like it because it's really, you are talking, it's on every types of games. So it means not only, for example, lotteries when you have some big win.
Except the lottery.
It's all like a withhold tax.
Sorry?
It's all like a withhold tax.
Yeah,
Okay.
withholding tax, except for the lottery, but that's not an issue because we do not have lottery since 2016 at all. We have it as a possibility, but not in reality. Not yet.
Okay. It's the same situation in Serbia and Bosnia, like on taxation of winnings. We were talking about it, but I remember specifically Montenegro. But at yours, it's
No, I don't think we have any withholding tax for players. Actually, operators do have a license to pay the taxes or monthly fees, as they call them, but there are also gaming taxes. So we don't have that problem. I think what we are having, just to touch on the cooperation between Games of Chance Authority and the operators, is the fact that the Serbian market has now very big players from abroad entered into Serbia. The likes of Bet365, Flutter, Betson, they are all present in Serbian market among very big Serbian players. So in a sense, operationally, they sort of required or requested, not in a formal sense, Games of Chance Authority to actually step up and to see the deficiencies in the current legal system. So the system as it is, or as it was not appropriate for such big name players. Even terminology was very outdated. So in a sense, the fact that we now in market have those big players required us to actually have a new law or amendments to the current law and to introduce all of these changes that would actually help the market be more mature. We have more than 20 licenses, online licenses in Serbia, and the fact that you have these big name players coming in the past few years really is a testament to the fact that the Serbian market is very popular. So in that sense, what we are seeing is that Games of Chance Authority is trying to keep up with these big name players coming from well-established jurisdictions, which with decades of experience, and in that sense, introducing these changes. So the changes we touched upon were the self-exclusion, the player verification, the new licenses, the new portals, etc. But we also have now like bonus accounts, which we didn't have previously. So one player has to have one bonus account, and those bonus funds have to be separated from real money funds. Something that is a standard in other jurisdictions, but it's now introduced in Serbia. You now have specific provisions on jackpot, which you didn't have previously. So you have so many changes. I can talk about them for like hours, which actually impact the industry as a whole. Not just online Games of Chance, but yeah, I think the Games of Chance Authority really stepped up in the past year, and it's a good sign for the entire industry.
okay. Thank you. Good, and let's move on to another topic, which was like also yesterday we have talked about it a little bit in the Czech Republic, for example. It's a new attitude to the advertising regulation. I wanted just to ask how is the situation in your countries, for example, Montenegro or Bosnia? Is it allowed, or there are some specific bans?
For the time being, we don't have gambling-specific rules, very general rules, like you cannot advertise in the media intended for minors, but there will be. In the new law, there will be special provisions. We still don't know how much they're going to restrict advertising. They're going to do it. In the draft law, it was a ban from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. in any medium, I mean radio or TV. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a popular solution.
Yeah.
We were talking about it yesterday. There was the draft in the Czech Republic also, but it was not accepted. So now we are still in the same situation. We are waiting.
And it's a bit better because in the first version of the draft law, it was a complete ban. So this is a bit better what we see in the final draft. So, but we'll see what will happen in the
complete ban, like you mean everywhere, or
Yeah.
just the traditional media, for example?
on TV and radio.
Okay.
Regarding Bosnia and Herzegovina and advertising, if we talking about country in whole, taking into consideration federal units and the Vrčko district, the situation is quite similar like in Montenegro. We don't have any regulations in play which define requirements. What I know and what is that before you want to advertise or start advertising strategy, marketing strategy, you need to send requests to regulator, and they, with the resolution, they approve or deny that kind of strategy. But to be honest, if we can notice advertisement from betting operators on every place, so I don't think so that is quite efficient filter. Definitely complete ban or something like that is not acceptable, but some kind of filter is really necessary, and probably when we are connected countries, so probably when they see that Montenegro is doing something on that, they will say, okay, we can do that as well. Not only in iGaming sector, in other industry and other sectors, we have a quite similar process. When we see changes in Serbia, we want to start the changes as well, also in Montenegro. Okay. And that's two-side process.
And quite often, you can see like copy paste, from other regulations, like from Serbia in our law, not just in this area, but in others too. You can see like copy paste from another law, another country.
Yeah, in Serbia it's a bit more complex situation. So at one hand, we don't have any specific restrictions on advertising, as is in the case in Montenegro. We do have some generic advertising rules which can be applicable for games of chance, but also for other industries. However, the current marketing landscape in Serbia is that you can do pretty much everything. There was only one enforcement action by Games of Chance Authority for violation of advertising, regulations, and that was very excessive ad that was broadcasted on TV. But outside of that, the ads that you would see in Serbia, you would probably not see in more established jurisdictions across Europe. However, on the other hand, you have a draft of law that should introduce advertising restrictions. However, that was brought by an opposition party, which doesn't have, obviously, the political power to actually introduce these changes. And because of the current political landscape, which I will not go into, it is a maze in Serbia at the moment. It's not realistic that advertising draft law will actually be adopted. But all of the society recognizes there is a problem with too much advertising. As I said, there are more than 20 licenses. All of them want a piece of cake, and they are doing, they're going beyond what is maybe good taste in trying to attract players with their advertising slogans and bonuses and promotions. There is a frequent use of role models in Serbia, both from sports but also from, let's say, more cultural area. And the types of ads that you would see there, trust me, it's not for underages. And you can see it in all of the sports channels. They're very popular. Sports is very popular in Serbia, and you get ad after ad of gambling operators. Practically nothing else is advertised. So there is, on one hand, as I said, like a society is seeing this as an issue, but the regulator still doesn't have anything in place to actually deal with it. Maybe in a, let's say, more liberal manner, but also to have some restrictions so that we would tie in those kind of loose ends. But there is no concrete action at the moment. This draft law, I don't see it being adopted. But I think in the next year or two, if obviously political situation settles down, then we could see amendments here as well.
Okay, thank you. You just already answered one of my questions. That was how the society sees it, even if the former like. But
So
you have-
society
you
on
have
one
just said,
hand,
yeah.
I mean, I talked about viewing of advertising.
Yeah.
Gambling is very much a popular thing in Serbia, especially sports betting. People love sports. People love to bet on sports. Casino is being increasingly introduced in Serbia. There are a lot of land-based shops, betting shops, in which you can play casino, play some sports bet, and also have something to eat. But the new amendments of the law on games of chance actually prohibited betting shops from serving food and alcoholic drinks over 5% of alcohol. So maybe some light beer is
You
allowed.
can bring your family to spend some quality time.
Yeah, actually, they had very good food in most of those shops and for very decent prices. But this created an atmosphere that you can go there as a leisure activity, not just to play something, and then also maybe play some games. So at the same time, society is viewing gambling as a bigger issue. I think that's why we now have those self-exclusion and responsible gambling measures introduced in the law. Whether that will be enough for society to look towards other industries, I don't know, to be honest. I think we have now very much bigger problems than gambling in Serbia. So I don't think that we will have more restrictions. But let's see whether operators themselves can actually try to be a bit more conservative in those advertising so that it would not poke the eye of let's say, society as a whole.
That's it. That's what came to my mind. How that we see the society wants something, the politicians want something, and what is the ideal solution, for example, for you as an operators or the lawyers they're dealing with operators? Where does the compromise?
Compromise is a balanced approach. You cannot put everything and advertise in every time of the day and cut every possibility for other kind of advertisement, because operators have more money to pay that time, on television, and definitely a restriction in the way that you need to fulfill some kind of requirements. What is the message? Is the message that is iGaming entertainment, and or it's a chance to earn the money, for example. That is the trigger. If you have approach that is entertainment, that you can spend some sum of money, and there is no chance to get rich, to earn some money, that's okay, that's something what is acceptable. So that kind of let me say filters and precognition when you go live with advertising something.
Yeah, I agree. You need to strike a fair balance, but you really need a serious approach from the regulators and legislators. For example, you have politicians and members of the government who are advocating against the industry for years, but in terms we want a complete ban or some harsh restrictions, but they're not doing anything to really do some easy improvements adding responsible gambling provisions in the law, which we do not have at all, and things like that, which can be easily improved. So that's why I think the approach has to be serious. Really, someone to sit down. If he doesn't understand the industry, to talk to someone who does understand the industry, and then to really try to strike a fair balance between the regulation and protection of those who have to be protected.
Yeah, thank you. And the topic that I really want to touch also, we have time still, it's the illegal gambling, because it's a really big topic on there through the panels and so on. For my question is it an issue for you, and are there some tools or some activities that you are already doing against it?
Well, if I can just have a point on Serbia, no, I don't think. In short, I don't think that it is an issue in Serbia. Unlicensed operators are actually being prohibited by their IP addresses. Their websites are being prohibited by the telecommunication providers. So as soon as the gaming authority understands that there is a website which you can access, or there is a new website that people from Serbia are accessing, it completely prohibits it from the telecom side, so you cannot even access it. On the other hand, the banks are actually prohibiting transactions with unlicensed operators. And that became an issue when people started realizing that they cannot take a loan for anything because they had some transactions with unlicensed gambling operators. So in that sense, there is a mechanism in place. So there is no incentive for players to actually go to unlicensed operators. Obviously, there is a way around it, let's say, with crypto casinos that are being ever present. So potentially you could go that route. Whether people are going, I'm not really sure. I think by the latest stats is that unlicensed operators participate in the entire industry in Serbia is like less than 1% or about 1%. So that's really not a big issue in Serbia.
Wow, it's interesting for me, and it goes like in the direction what we wanted to say. The overregulated market usually goes much more into the black market, heading people like, and they have some motivation to do it.
Yeah, but just to touch base on that, so we don't have an over-regulated market in Serbia, I would say. It's fairly regulated. Yeah. It could have some improvements, obviously, but it's not over-regulated. It's not a burden for operators. It's not a burden for players. It's, in that sense, a bit more liberal than you would find elsewhere in Europe.
Hopefully we'll continue in this direction, because it means it's not bad. It's a really good direction. It's and Montenegro is still same as, or yeah, Luka.
Well, we had some issues, specific issues with the gaming terminals at some point, because a general rule is that you cannot place gaming machines anywhere except in gaming licensed venues. And at some point it was permitted to keep the terminals in cafes and restaurants under special permits, and that possibility ended, but some kept keeping those terminals in cafes and restaurants. And then we had a bizarre situation that the gambling authority did not have an authority to go there and check if they're providing illegal games, because it was not a gaming venue, it was a restaurant, not within their jurisdiction. So they could not go there. On the other hand, other types of inspection did not have jurisdiction over gambling industry. So you have these restaurants, cafes, clubs with a couple of gaming terminals where people are gambling illegally, and no one is, it's not within anyone's jurisdiction to go there and actually check.
It's just a quick question of time, isn't it?
Well, it is. I think this could be also a case for the prosecutor and police, because now this goes, it opens a question of criminal activity, but at some point this will have to be checked by someone.
Yeah, I understand. And let me just, I have one question, because we are just heading to, and I would like also to give the audience the chance to ask. So my question, which I really want to ask Zlatan, you were mentioning a few times the Brčko district, which means like some sort of specific area in Serbia which has its own regulation, its own taxes. Bosnia, sorry. And how I think you have told me, but I wanted to repeat it also for the audience. How many people are living there?
Well, approximately 20,000 people. And actually, they have a good taxation policy. And there is a fight with operators who will be the first and one of the first that will release the games from that administrative unit, because there is far as I know, that's something what operators know better, there is a zero paying tax on paying tax, and I'm not sure for winning what is winning tax, but definitely they are much better regulated from the operator's point of view than Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina and Republic of Srpska. So if they keep this policy and regulation on the way that they started, I think they can be a new small Malta here in Balkan. Yeah.
I wanted. That's
Yeah, yes, that's a big chance for them.
Yeah, but it's really, really like 20,000 people. It's like small city.
Yes, it's a small city, but you know, if you want to release game online, it's never mind. Okay, Malta is also how many people? There is a small island, but we talk everywhere in the all part of the world. We talk about Malta regulation, MGA, and things like that. So it's not only how much is the big territory where you something set up. Just one sentence, because we are running out of time. Just one sentence in terms of illegal operators. There is a big issue in Bosnia and Herzegovina. There is blockers where you notice that someone would like to put illegal games on the site. For example, from our perspective as a platform provider or software supplier, we need to integrate our platform to the taxation authority. And if operators come to you and with approach, please don't put us and integrate to that, you know what is about. And we stopped communication, and it's very difficult to release games in that manner if you are a platform provider and you want to operate fully legal from your side and from the operator side. We just say we don't want to do that. And because of that, as other suppliers, we don't have so much big issues regarding illegal gambling.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this insight. Petar, you was touching the microphone. You wanted to add something?
Yeah, I mean, I just remembered talk about the illegal operators. So there were a couple of instances where some big name operators were operating, let's say, from outside the jurisdiction in the past, let's say, 10 years, with the clampdowns that happened over telecom providers blocking access to their websites, and also banks prohibiting those kind of transactions. Actually, a couple of them entered the Serbian market in a legal manner and obtained a license in Serbia. So they saw it as an attractive market. They didn't have any opportunity to navigate around the regulations, so they entered the market.
Thank you.
I can just add, in Montenegro too, it is prohibited for offshore operators to have any offering in the country, and there should be this blacklist of offshore operators, non-licensed, but in practice, it's not being enforced still. Also, the banks are obliged to block any payments towards foreign operators, but the banks are actually doing something more. They're banning the local licensed gambling operators to have any kind of cross-border payments, which is now a bit of an issue for the industry, even to open the foreign accounts. Which are the accounts needed for you to receive a foreign payment. So it's a bit of an issue, for the industry now.
Yeah, I understand completely.
Yeah, they have to find a workaround how to bring money into the country if they need for their business needs. Trying to resolve it with the banks.
This can be the topic for some other panel already, but still, as we are running out of time, I wanted to ask quickly if there are questions. You want a microphone?
Thank you for this interesting question. Actually, the topic of certification is a topic where we can discuss 1 more hour, definitely. Before the Brazil, I thought that in Bosnia and Herzegovina and some other country is the worst situation, but no, after Brazil, there is no experience with Brazil is unique with branded reports. I know that you hate that word if someone ever touched the Brazil. Okay, regarding the certification in Republic of Srpska, you need to put the game, to release the game, you need first to be certified from accredited test labs. and you need 2 certificates for RNG and RTP game certificate. After that, you send that certificate, operator send that certificate and other documentation to the regulatory, and they write the resolution and they approve that game to be released with specific operator. But the second part of the process is a little bit tricky. They have a catalog of the products which need to be released in official gazette. And there is a significant delay from the time when you receive resolution that you can put and release game on your website, from the time when they release catalog of the games in official gazette. So, and after that you can release the game. So that's something what I really don't understand, because everyone in that situation losing money. Operator, definitely. A supplier, absolutely. And the state or federal unit, definitely, because they will not collect tax for some popular games, which is really important to be on that market. That's some little piece of experience.
Another question?
What I can say is Serbia, for example, has bases for one of biggest affiliates in the industry, and one of them actually was founded in Serbia. So they are present. I think they are not very big. They're not very active in Serbian market as such, but they are working from Serbia elsewhere.
To be honest, I don't know exact number, but I can feel the presence. But I can check that, and we can discuss after this. But exact number or that I don't have information. But there are some. Yeah.
Not too many Montenegro. I could remember just a few. So very few.
Because maybe it's usually because of there is no list. There's no regulation over the affiliate, like they have to doesn't have to be registered or evidence somewhere. So it's the same in the Czech Republic. But from top of my head, I don't know the number.
But it is allowed and very present in Serbia, for example. Yeah.
Same as well in Bosnia.
Same too, not regulated and legal.
Yeah.
From the perspective of Bosnia and Herzegovina, there is no B2B license in place. You need just to get the certificate, RNG and RTP certificates. In terms of technical standards, there is rule book provisions which they need to follow, but not something specific like in Brazil that you need to have some kind of front end to change of the game and stuff like that. Just regular technical requirements, nothing silly and specific.
Yeah, there is no B2B license in Serbia. There are, of course, technical regulations. I think the biggest point is that you have to have a mirror server in Serbia or a database present in Serbia. Outside of that, as Zlatan said, I don't think there is anything extraordinary that would limit or restrict operating somehow. But there is a difference that in Serbia, unlike other jurisdictions, there are no well-established labs that are present in the world. You have 2 labs, which are basically state governed. One is the so-called Military Institute, but don't be confused. It's not confused with army as such, but it is a technical institute from the army, and there's also a math faculty. So those are the 2 labs that are present in Serbia at the moment.
Yeah, Montenegro is least regulated in technical terms, in terms of technical requirements. There is no license for B2B. It's free and legal, and in terms of technical standards and the certification, we still don't have specific rules. There are some only last year, some technical requirements were introduced, but there are very few rules. Basically, any kind of certification would pass. There is no like a list of laboratories or anything like that.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. I'm sorry, but by the corner of my eye, I can see the blue hoodie approaching, so that means that we have to finish.
We need more time next year.
Thank you for the question. We should be proud on ourselves.
Okay, so thank all of you. Thank the panelists. It was a great discussion. Thank you, Petar, Zoltan, Luka. Thank you. And thanks, Zoltan, for giving us the opportunity to be there. Thank you.